Hey guys, Anthony here with AFT Dog Training. In this video I'm going to show you how to work the Mini-Educator from eCollar Technologies and what the buttons do. Okay, so if you ordered the Mini-Educator, this is the same thing as the Mini-Educator, basically just a little bit more powerful. It's the canine handler. The only real difference is it comes with an elastic band. It's a little bit more powerful. But let's talk about the remote here. So I want you to look at this remote. You open it up, it comes out of the box. You got a black S button, a red S button, a little knob that turns here, a button with a T on it. You got an on-off button, light, and an MC button. I'm going to go over what all these buttons are. You have a little red dot right there, a little magnetic red dot, a little red dot here on the collar. To turn the system on, the unit, it's actually a two-step process. You have to take this little red dot on the remote and put it up to the collar. That turns the collar on. It should be blinking a green color. That means that this is charged. If it starts blinking an orangey red color, that means it needs to be charged. But you haven't turned on the remote unit yet. So you have the collar on, but you have to turn this unit on. So there's a little on-off button, light button. You're going to push that in until the LCD screen comes on. So when it comes out of the box and you turn this unit on, that's what it looks like. This unit has a blinking 1D for one dog. You can add a second dog to this system, but we're not going to get into that in this video. Then you have a C for continuous and an M for momentary. Then you have the number 0 because this knob here turns all the way up to high, which is 100, turns all the way back down to 0. That's what this knob does here. Okay. I'm going to tell you how we use the remote is I remove that momentary setting off of the unit. You can add it back on, but I remove it off because if I want to create a moment, I'll just use the C continuous setting instead of tapping a moment setting. So it really depends on the dog too, but for us 99% of the time using the continuous setting on the remote instead of momentary, because a moment used on the remote is more for a correction for us, the way that we use it, whereas the continuous setting allows us to ask for the commands while we could tap for a correction as well. So to remove that momentary setting off, there's a little MC button on the back here. I don't know if we can see that. I'm trying to get it to work. But you tap it once, it's going to go into momentary setting, which then means that these black and red S buttons are going to be momentary settings. So if I am on so it looks to you on there better. So if I'm on a 1, I hit the red stem button on the moment setting. It did the moment one real quick. Boom. I can try holding it down. It's just going to do it the moment 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, quick. Boom. All right. Now if I hit the red button on the moment setting, it's going to bump it by 5. Boom. Right to 6. Real quick. All right. That's what the momentary setting is. We're going to remove it. We're going to hit that MC button again until we get to the C button. I mean the C setting. So for continuous. So it should say one dog, the number, and then C. If you're on 0 on the remote and you hit the buttons, it's not going to do anything to here, to the collar, because it's on 0. But if I put it on 1, and I hit it instantly. And I think the system's up to 3/4 of a mile, but most Mini-Educators up to half a mile. There are systems that go over a mile. So now that we're on that setting, that black S button, I have it on 1, is going to give stimulation to the collar or communication to the collar, and it has a 10-second shut off. So I'm holding it down, that black S, and it's shut off. The red S is going to be a continuous, and it's going to bump it up by 5. Now we're on 6, and it has a 10-second shut off. So basically, the S buttons on this remote are for stim. The same exact stimulation that a TENS unit does. So I have back surgery a few years ago. I have a TENS unit. It's the same exact technology that's being communicated to this collar. So that's why, at least in our facility, we use remote communication as the term for, instead of saying shock or stim. Sometimes we say sim, but we don't really use shock because this is not actually shocking the dog. It's a TENS unit that is stimulating their muscles and nerves. It's not a taser or anything going zzz between these two contact points. So that's where that myth comes in from. Like, you'll see it from the positive only movement saying that this is some kind of police taser, let's say. It is not. So it's a TENS unit attached to the collar. So now hopefully you have a better understanding. The black S button is the number that you have on the remote. The red S button bumps that number up by 5. And you can hold it down. It's only going to go 5 that one time. It's not going to continuously go up by 5, just 5 that one time. There's settings on this remote that I'm not going to get into right here in this video, where you can have that red S button be set to a number. So say you need that red S button set to 50, and your working level on your dog is a 2, and you're using that 50 as a high correction or recall. For whatever reason, you can hit that red button and it'll give it that instant number instead of you messing with the knob to turn it up. The T button, for whatever reason, it comes default with vibrate. So I don't know if you can. It's a vibrate setting. Okay? A lot of dogs that we work with hate that setting. And I've tried using the pager only setting where you can. There's a pager only remote collar that is a vibrate only, and a lot of dogs do not take to it as well as the TENS unit stimulation. So the vibration button could be used as an attention grabber. Like, they feel this vibrate that's very aversive on their neck. They're like, what the heck is that? Or it could be used as a correction. Some dogs hate this vibrate setting. We've worked with a lot of deaf dogs that do not like the vibrate setting but love the TENS unit setting or the stim settings or stim buttons. So just keep that in mind. Try to figure out the dog for that. This is just an antenna. So if you're like, what is this thing sticking up here? It's an antenna. So then you have the knob. Now the knob has a little red line on it. If it's facing you, it's on 0, this little red line. If you turn it, it starts turning. You'll see the red line over here. Just a little setting on there that, feature that if you're just looking at the remote, you can get a gauge on where the red line is at and where the number's at, all right? There's also a setting on here that I typically don't use. So let's say if it's on a 1, and you put this in your pocket, the remote. If you push down on the knob, so I'm going to push down, and it moved to 5 when I did that, but it locked in, or 2, I mean, it moved to 2 on there, it looks like a 5. It locks in the number, so I could turn this knob as much as I want, and it locked in that number. I hate that setting, because when you're working with the dog, you may need to fluctuate on the numbers, and now you're messing around trying to unlock it so you can mess with the number. You miss the moment of training the dog. So I am going to push down again, and it unlocks that number and puts it back into the setting where I can turn it, okay? There's another feature on the remote, and I'm just going to continue reiterating this so you guys may not do this all the time. You have the black S button, which is the number on here. It's going to immediately give that number stim to this collar. You have the red S button that is going to bump it up by 5. So if you're working on a place command on a 1 or a 2, and you say place, you hold it up, dog places, great. So then you hit the red button to give a correction of like, no, I meant serious. Now it went from 1 to 6, seriously go to place. So that's pretty much the features of the black S button, the red S button. The T button is for vibrate. There's a setting on here where you can set it to, the T button actually is a tone. A lot of dogs that we work with do not respond well to that tone. Unless there's you're working with a lab that has great genetics that could respond to a whistle recall or something, you may get a lot of response from that tone. The tone feature, a lot of times they hear that beep and they're like, what the heck is that? It freaks them out. So we typically do not see 99% of the time a dog that responds to the tone. And all the times we've been working here, there's been a handful of dogs that actually responded well to the tone. So you're figuring out every dog. Just like you figure out every child, you're figuring out some kids learn differently in the classroom than others. You have to figure it out to make it make sense to them. What makes sense to that individual. So, so the other cool feature in the back is this on-off light button, where you hit the on-off button, but you only have to tap it once. Tap real quick. Watch my middle finger. It blinks. Now we ran a test on this. This ran for like 36 hours nonstop, blinking white, little light there. It's cool, that feature if you're out walking your dog out at night time, right? You tap it again, middle finger right here, it goes to a solid white light. Now remember, if you have that on, it's going to drain the battery a lot quicker. You tap it again, and it turns off that white light, and that's instantly a half a mile away. That's how well these collars work. Both of these are waterproof. And if you drop this one in the water, it floats. Drop the remote. So these feet, when you're paying for a good collar, you're getting good quality. All right, and there's great quality in this e-collar technologies remote collars. So to turn the unit off, you're gonna hold. We'll start off here because it could be done both ways. I'm gonna turn the collar off first. So I'm gonna put the red dot to there. It turned red. This should be off. Now to turn the remote itself off, I'm going to hold that on-off button on the back. The LCD screen is going to light up, and then it's going to turn off. So now the system is off. You can now charge it. There's a little flap on the back here, a little flap on the back here, and there's a wire for a charger that just connects both. It connects to one to here, and you plug it in the wall and charges. If they're dead, both the battery and remote and collar, it'll take about 90 minutes for a full charge. So hopefully you rewind this, you keep looking back and forth, and if you're not understanding remote, that's how this remote collar works. You can go through our YouTube channel or on our Facebook page and try to find videos with how to find the setting for your dog when using this remote collar. So you're looking for a number that's the training level for your dog when using this remote collar. We always highly suggest going to work with a professional when working with this remote, not trying to do it on your own, because you may mess things up if you're not watching videos and really learning how to work with this remote collar. So, yep, that's just the Mini-Educator. Great tool. We'll do some other ones on all these remote collars. Pretty much work the same. It's just different settings on them. Okay. Some of them give a higher setting. Some of them give a lower setting where it should be higher, and vice versa. That's the only difference. They're using the same 10G technology on all of them. But we love the collar technologies. We also almost use these on every single dog we work on. So. Thanks for watching, guys. Hit up the comment section. Share this video if you want to. Let me know if you have any questions about how to work this remote collar. Take care, guys.